Nothing gets the adrenaline pumping like a big derby. Between near neighbours Gladbach and Köln.
A derby like no other.
As anywhere else, location plays an important role in Bundesliga rivalries. After all, clubs used to face each other regionally before the league was created, and many of those matchups helped shape the history of German derbies. But geography alone doesn't explain everything at stake in some rivalries. In Western Germany, the River Rhine cuts through the most densely populated region in the country, where at least 4 clashes could be considered derbies. Yet for those who live there, one of these matches is the real deal in the Rhineland. FC Köln against Borussia Mönchengladbach.
The most populous regions are Düsseldorf and Cologne, which is actually on the Rhine, and we're not on the Rhine here in Mönchengladbach, but we're called Lower Rhine. So basically the whole region is the Rhineland. And the Rhineland, you can say it's always the same. Like the mentality is the same, the culture, we have the carnival in common.
Cologne is a much bigger city. It's an iconic city with a big church and stuff. And Mönchengladbach is a much smaller town, a bit more remote near the Dutch border.
And if you know the city of Cologne, which was a Romanian city, so which is really old, and FC Cologne in the city, it's almost one, right? And that's why you can also see like the city symbol or the goat of FC Cologne, they're always combined together.
People in Düsseldorf always say we are the transit town, because I live here in Mönchengladbach and work in Düsseldorf, for example. That's how they make fun of us. But basically it's like provincial here, but it's still a big city. And without Borussia, it would be a lot more boring here, to be honest.
Born from a merger of 2 local clubs, FC Köln became the first ever Bundesliga champions. And while the nearly 1 million inhabitants of Cologne celebrated the victory, less than an hour away, Mönchengladbach was beginning to rise through the second division.
When the Bundesliga was founded with FC Cologne, and since then, like, we were one of the biggest clubs. And this area here, it's also close to the Ruhrgebiet, and this whole North Rhine-Westphalia area of Germany is very busy, and a lot of clubs. And you just see, like, in the first years, there was a lot of tension between Borussia Mönchengladbach and FC Cologne. A lot of small things, players changing club, and the rivalry just get bigger and bigger.
All this rivalry is really passed on from generation to generation. It's something that empowers their enthusiasm and makes them live this rivalry and enjoy it.
But, as we said, geography alone doesn't explain this rivalry. The Rhine Derby's roots are firmly planted on the football field.
It's quite interesting because it has no roots in religion or politics like other derbies. Our elders say there was a coach back then, Hennes Weisweiler, who was the most successful coach with us. He's from Cologne, and he brought the rivalry with him basically, because people in Cologne say he's like some kind of traitor. And he went back to Cologne after being successful with Mönchengladbach, and it's like a sportive rivalry, which then became a rivalry between the fan bases.
He is one of the greatest coaches Germany had, and he really shaped Mönchengladbach and did somehow have a special connections to his players. He was older, he was like a father figure.
Weisweiler, a Cologne native, former player and coach of both clubs, was central to the story of this derby. The Bundesliga's most famous mascot, Hennes the Goat, featured on Köln's crest and present at every home match, was not named by coincidence. Managing the Billy Goats, Weisweiler won the 1977-78 Bundesliga title and lifted the German Cup twice. In Mönchengladbach, anyone searching for Borussia Park will drive to Hennes Weisweiler Allee, number 1. There, the coach won 3 Bundesliga titles, 1 German Cup, and an international triumph in the UEFA Cup, where Borussia eliminated FC in the semi-finals. Some of those stories helped fuel the rivalry in matches that became part of German football folklore. In 1973, FC Köln and Gladbach played one of the most extraordinary German Cup finals ever. Managing Borussia, Hennes refused to start the team's star player, Günther Netzer, who was about to transfer to Real Madrid.
He had long blonde hair and he did his own stuff. He drove a fancy sports car, had a discotheque, and he was really one of the first superstars in German football.
Despite his fame, Netzer watched from the bench as the game ended in a 1-1 draw in regulation time in a fiercely contested match. The Gladbach player had to be persuaded by his teammates to remain seated on the bench, but eventually his patience ran out.
In the dying minutes of the game, Günther Netzer, he just took off his suit, went to the lines and substituted himself without talking to Weisweiler. And then he entered the pitch and he scored a tremendous goal, making the win 2-1. So it really went right up into the corner and it was fantastic.
So this is basically the start of the rivalry. He put himself in the game, and people in Germany say that it was the best football game that's ever been played on German soil.
But the Rhineland is full of surreal stories. FC Köln fans have an equally epic final to remember, this time with Weisweiler on their side. On the final match of the 1977-78 Bundesliga season, FC and Gladbach were level on points, with the Goats of Cologne holding a 10-goal advantage in goal difference. A simple win should have been enough, if not for the chaos unfolding in Mönchengladbach, where the Foals demolished Borussia Dortmund at an unbelievable pace, setting a Bundesliga record that still stands today, a 12-0 victory. Even that extraordinary result wasn't enough to deny Köln the title. They responded with a 5-0 win over St. Pauli, securing the championship with a 3-goal margin. Ironically, Köln's 5-2 victory in Gladbach earlier that season contributed to their excellent goal tally. It's been a long time since this rivalry decided titles as it once did, but for today's supporters, that changes nothing about the size or intensity of the derby.
We are the biggest club. It's the Rhine, you know, the river, and we are the biggest club in that area. And that's why I think Borussia Mönchengladbach, that's what I had, is at some point they think like, yeah, we are more successful, we are bigger, we have better support, and that's not the truth.
And this is even, we say, when we lose this game, the season is basically over.
Despite the 55 kilometers separating the two cities, on derby days, Mönchengladbach and Cologne feel like neighbouring districts, and the tension and anticipation are impossible to ignore.
So the atmosphere is a whole lot different. When you go to German stadiums, you always have some kind of good atmosphere. When you play this derby, it's like 90 minutes before the game. The terraces are packed already. When the players come out, they get booed in a way that I haven't seen in Germany before. So the tension is like extreme.
Especially in the mornings, it's even more quiet in the city, somehow. Before the game starts, it's really like everyone has attention in themselves. And people are really pushing for that game. You see it also like, it's super hard getting tickets, people pushing to get in here. People in the stadium, like they're well prepared. And as soon as the game starts, the support is just amazing.
The countless events surrounding this derby certainly contribute to its enduring appeal. In 1971, Borussia Mönchengladbach's team bus was stolen before their match in Cologne, including equipment and jerseys. It reappeared, hours after the game, in a small town near the city. Gladbach striker Arie van Lent once auctioned off his football boots for charity, and then suffered an inexplicable goal drought. Before the derby against FC Köln, the Dutchman received his boots back from a concerned fan. Gladbach won the derby 4-0, and Van Lent scored the fastest hat-trick in derby history. 4 years earlier, Tony Polster, who later played for Gladbach, had won the game against their arch rivals with a goal using his backside. Arguably the most beautiful goal in Derby history was scored by Marcel Riese. His 34-metre free kick was voted Goal of the Year in 2016. Lukas Podolski also scored his first goal of the month against the Fohlen. Besides Weisweiler, there were other key figures who switched sides, like coaching icon Udo Lattek and top players like Tony Polster, Thomas Broik and Rainer Bonhoff. Andrei Voronin even managed to play for all the bigger clubs from Rhineland. Across more than 70 years of rivalry, the Rhine Derby has seen both clubs experience glory and disappointment. Statistically, the club from the smaller city has enjoyed greater consistency and leads the head-to-head record. But as you move closer to the river, red and white take over, defended by one of the largest fan bases in Germany.